watching the sunrise, and we were just about to go live and they flew away just before we went live. So see if we can, if they might still be there this morning. Beautiful sound of the call of the fish eagle. It's like it's known as the Lord of the African Sky. Well, the call of the fish eagle is synonymous with the bushveld. And all that comes with it, I suppose. We had clear skies when I woke up this morning. It was still dark, there were stars, and now it's clouded over pretty quickly, sadly. No, the fish eagles are gone. They have left their building. Might not be so overcast that we don't get much of a sunrise, but we'll have to wait and see. You have to quarantine for the sunrise, or Juma Dam, Gowrie Dam, Juma Waterfall. Hopefully getting the camera up today or soon. Being Monday, it's only me this morning. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning drives are going to be only one vehicle. That gives us the opportunity to switch crew around a little bit. And let some people have a little bit of a break. So this morning, Scott and Nikki are having a little break. Liam is in final control. Well, the three of us will try and do our best to bring you a fantastic morning. It's getting a little misty, isn't it?
I feel like it as well.
Yeah, it's a little bit damp. Today I don't have anything special in mind because I like to keep an open mind. I like to just wander around, to maybe have a larger circle until something shows itself, or until we find some tracks, or until something pushes us in a different direction. But I thought we'd just do a few circles around Taylor Lodge. Karula was here last night, so prudent we have an idea of where she might have gone from Taylor Lodge. Hasn't left it yet. Clouds lifting for a sunrise. Popping up above the cloud now. Missed most of it, unfortunately. Go down to Gary Dam. You'll see it rising from a different perspective as we go down towards the dam.
What?
Pardon?
Hold on.
Hold on.
My camera's complete.
Camera's complete.
There you go. A little malfunction, but we fixed it.
Okay. Thank you. more less dash. Beautiful morning. That morning chorus. Here's some francolins. Much other no way of bird call yet. Bird song. It's cool this morning. A little bit of mist and rain that we had, or misty rain, yesterday. Hello, Drongo. A lot of the temperature is attributed to the moisture that's around because of that little bit of rain. I don't know how much it's going to help because there was so little. It's getting dry already. The roads are dry already. Almost every road. Now, another thing I've noticed almost every morning, that beautiful marula tree, that skeleton of a marula tree that the sun is rising through. You'll see a number of birds at the top of the tree. Every morning I see these European bee eaters here. They seem to be collecting. I guess they're getting ready to migrate back north to Europe. Isn't that beautiful? Even in death, trees are fantastic. Skeleton of a tree. About as far as gravity. No, maybe a little longer. Pink mist hanging over the valley. I predict a hippo in our immediate future. That silent engine we were using, that's the Newton drive, gravity drive. Specially adapted for push use. Allows us to travel silently without the noise of an engine. Sunlight now streaming through onto the dam. Can we have Q Karula? We have an elephant, please. I wonder where that giraffe went. We had a big male giraffe that was here for a little while. Saw him a couple of times below the dam wall. Seemed to be enjoying a lot of this vegetation here in the riverbed. Very different to riparian vegetation. Hyena still whooping behind me. I'm guessing it must be near the den. And is this mother hippo? I was sitting at Biffleshoek Dam. The mother hippo that's sometimes here was with her baby. There was a bull hippo, and baby was actually sleeping on mom's back. But we have seen that before. I haven't seen any little noses pop up for air yet. Where did she go last night?
In the riverbed, under the fence, onto that strip over there.
So far, no tracks of her. Lots of elite tracks around here, but we were here with elephants only recently. Although there are elephant tracks on top of last night's cart tracks. Elephants around. Well, I suppose one thing he's clever about is being able to hide inside the camp, keep her safe from other things that don't get inside the camp. What this elephant did. Where? Oh wow, that's from the cold.
Show that?
Don't know if we want to see that, but I suppose. You know, this is interesting. It's very similar to what I experienced some time ago.
On a dead.
Yeah, I mean it's nature, it's life. This is what it is. It's the reality of. I guess I can blame it on climate change. We've had a few cold snaps that have come through. In fact, the one plant that has been hit the most has been the monkey orange. And there are a lot of monkey oranges that are showing signs of having cold wind touching them. And I would imagine that that's possibly what happened to this poor child. I did see a similar thing a few years ago here at Juma, and we could see where almost like it was a band of frost swept down the Milwaukee River, and it was in a tree that got hit pretty hard, where a chameleon must have been sleeping. And I suppose the colder it got, the more the chameleon couldn't move, and eventually it just froze on the tree. This one has too. Nothing's found it, probably because it's so well camouflaged. Poor child's back leg still clutching the branch, but sadly it has moved on. Poor child. A hyena came through here last night. Now, there are a number of nyala that live inside the lodge, because the nyala know how to get in and out of that fence. Actually, let's go over it. And I'm wondering if Karula might not have found herself a snack. Nyala dinner. been driven by changes in climate. So climate change is not a new concept. Or rather, I should say changes in climate. Changes in climate, the diversity of the planet. Nothing can really stay the same. There's no real thing as balance in nature. No balance. Constantly fluctuating, whether it's wet or dry, or extra wet or extra dry. Where the animals and plants can adapt to changing conditions, rapid or otherwise, determines whether they are successful as a species. So it might be just something new to us as humans, and it might be exacerbated by human activity on the planet. But it is kind of a part of what our planet is all about, really. This is WildEarth. This is our morning safari at the beginning of the week, Monday morning, reaching the end of March already. I'm going to have to think of an April Fool.
I've been thinking already.
Have you? Another month. Okay. I'm just wondering, maybe VM's been trying to talk to me. Well, I should be able to get me. The radio's been on scan. VM coming? That's interesting. It's raft tracks. Maybe this is that big bull heading west. So, as I was saying, WildEarth, welcome. If you are new, if you haven't seen us before, if this is your first drive with us, please be patient. We are driving around an area of the Greater Kruger National Park here in South Africa. Djuma Private Game Reserve, and although we have a very small area that we can cover. Bless you, bless you.
Sorry.
Bless you, bless you. The animals that live here have a vast area that they can cover. We're in the middle of, well, we're part of several million acres, one of the biggest national parks. So it is exciting. It can be even more so. This is not a preserve. This is not a fenced-in area. This is not a safari park where animals have designated places and you go from one to the other. If an elephant wants to walk 100 miles, an elephant can walk 100 miles or more. We're very lucky though, because there are a lot of animals that are quite territorial. They're very particular about where they live. Morning Tex, I think all quiet on Western Gowrie. Mbubu Road coming round back to Gallagher shortcut. I'm heading up now to Sandy Patch. I just did a little bit of Zoe's Road to Rebecca's and back. Negative. Okay, copy. I think Bernie was going to check Twin Dams and then MPC car. Negative. They have been at Zoe's Rebecca's Junction, that one. What I thought was a quiet Western Gowrie. This area that we drive on is known as Western Gowrie, and a lot of radioactivity all of a sudden. A lot of guys may be leaving a little bit later than normal, maybe because they're landowners or private guests, or just people who didn't want to go out early. So I thought we were alone on Western Gowrie, which makes things a little difficult sometimes, and there's only one vehicle driving around. It's up to us to see if we can find anything. And it's always a dilemma, like here, do I go left or do I go straight? Because I don't know what I'm going to miss out on if I miss the left turn. Well, the giraffe's still heading west, so we shall too for now. But any road has as great a chance of finding something as another. But when there are other vehicles out, it helps us to find game because they can cover different areas. So we chat on the radio, discuss where each vehicle will, which area one will cover. Now, if you are a new viewer, please let us know. You can write to us at questions@wildearth.tv. Send an email and you can ask us questions. VM will send that through to me and I'll see if I can answer them. Depends on the question, or it depends on my knowledge. Okay. Evidently maybe that's why it's been a bit quiet this morning. Can't get through to the email. Liam can't somehow get onto email. I guess if you want you can send a tweet. #Safari Live if you want. If you have sent an email and you're wondering why it hasn't come through, that's possibly why. Dularay. I think. Send a tweet. Not animal related question. Jason related question. I don't know the answers, Jason. Why did it Romeo? I'll tell you how it came about that everybody got names. After Jason tells you about the Romeo part.
I think you should go first.
Okay. Well, when the drive started back in...
Like hippoos.
I like hippoos too. African hippo with his crest raised, sitting on a poop poop. Can't do it properly. No, nothing like that. More like that. Bird we can hear in the distance is a ghost bird, grey-headed bush shrike. Well, when the drive started, it was before I started. It was in November when the drive started with Hayden and Peter and the earlier crew. Although most of them are here now, not most, a couple of them. Brian and Jason and VM. For radio signals, for radio calls, for talking on the radio, Mr. Fox decided to... Was it Will's decision?
Yep.
Or was it Peter?
I don't know, it just happened.
It just happened that everybody got a nickname for radio communication. So that... Anyway, so... I can't even remember who was who.
I think the only two that stuck were...
Wildebeest. VM was Wildebeest. There's your hippo in the road now. Doing what hippos do. Poking around in the ground with that very sharp beak of theirs. Very similar to the way Hardy-Dars feed. He says, changing the subject.
do they smell bad like everyone says?
I believe so, yes. I believe they do. Wiederhop. Sharon, Clown Sharon. Hello, morning to you. Some people call it African bush, some people call it African jungle, which is correct, or can you use both? Jungle is not really correct, because there isn't really jungle in Africa. We don't really have jungle. It's bushveld, or savanna, African bush. It's bush or bushveld, or just the bush.
So we have forests up in East Africa.
There are rainforest and also West Africa. It's more rainforest than jungle. I did catch something there just shortly. See if we can move a bit forward. Oh. I frightened it away. No, I didn't. The car did. The vehicle did. I think it's time them Kahumas came home. Juma. They've been away for too long. And the Matimbas. sign of cats today. Drive into the sunrise. So, I guess we better answer that then. Although we might have signal issues. How did they choose Romeo?
Well, the running joke is that because Casanova's too long for the radio.
Ah.
But I don't know actually why. It's a series of events that unfolded.
I see, and you reflect.
And then I don't know, it just stuck. Also, what's how do I it just is, that's what they call me.
Okay. It just came about.
Yeah.
See what's going on the radio. Turned it down earlier. Chilly. This is now our northern boundary, by the way. Road, Buffelshoek cut line. Cut lines, normally when we talk about a cut line, it's normally a boundary, although it's a boundary from days gone by when there used to be fences, I guess. I guess many years ago, the government at the time would have subdivided this land with the intention of selling it off to private landowners for farming purposes. But a lot of the people that bought the land were people who already, back in the 40s, 50s, way back in time, were people who were already interested in wildlife, and it was way back in the 1950s that a lot of the internal fences of the Sabi Sand came down to create a much bigger conservation area, private conservation area, and that's when the Sabi Sand was declared as a private nature reserve. Noticed a vulture in a tree down this way. Now, there was one on Gallagher Shortcut yesterday, and shortly after, Karula was seen in that vicinity. Now, this isn't very far from that. But it's a white-backed vulture by the looks of things. Fairly large vulture. I can't imagine a vulture of that size being bothered with a small kill like a leopard's kill. You never know these things. Vulture?
Oh shit, sorry.
It's okay. Are you...
I was thinking about what you were saying and not showing the people.
We'll get one of these days one of those thought-controlled camera mounts where you just think about things and the camera turns. Almost like the pilot's heads-up display, those helmets. Although that would work, because if you so wherever I look the camera goes, then we don't need a camera person anymore, so maybe we don't need that.
Oh, I could just wear it.
Or you could just wear it.
And you just pointed what I must look at.
Oh, that's true.
And you don't have to wear
it. Didn't know any better. I'd say that this vulture has a full crop. Put the union on me.
Yeah.
The cameraman union. I don't know if it's the way it's sitting, but I think it might be the neck feathers, but I think it's got a full crop. Maybe we'll see it better from further on. Unfortunately, very difficult to find, unless there are vultures on the ground, unless there are more vultures or more scavenging birds. Very difficult to figure out where it is that vulture is focusing its attention on, or why a vulture is sitting in a particular place. Now, I do know that it's still cool right now. There are no thermals. Could just be that a vulture ended up here last night because it was nearby and it needed a roost for the night, so that it can fly home today. And it's simply too cold to get into the air right now. There are no thermals yet, so it would be too much energy for a vulture to fly now. Now between here and where, or possibly even the same vulture that we saw yesterday evening, on some carcasses, I've seen vultures up to 500 yards away in trees over a 500 meter radius. Maybe not that big, 250 meters, 500 diameter. And not necessarily always that close to, or always looking at a carcass. Could be anyway, if there is something around here. Thought I heard something.
Lania schweinfurtii.
Lania schweinfurtii. False marula. We need to look for woodlands kingfisher today also.
Yesterday at Buffelshoek when we went live. I mean at Twin Dam.
Yeah.
I mean Treehouse Dam.
I saw one also diving into a dam yesterday. Buffelshoek, I think.
You should go to the dam.
Yes. When it's hotter, warmer, later in the day. Because any day now will be the last time we see. Oh, Donna. Morning, Donna. Did I ever find out more about Philemon's dip and the Philemon's cut? I think Donna is asking about whether we found out more about Philemon. Well, a little bit. Don't fly. Lilac-breasted roller. Okay, maybe since there doesn't seem to be much moving about except maybe the few birds. Let's do a bird quiz. I'll find a bird and viewers have to tell me what it is. Donna went, oh, see, I talk and then the bird flies. Mustn't talk so loud. Poor little marula tree. Gonna fall down soon. Just not now.
Made it.
Philemon was Yuri's father. When Yuri's father had this property, before, I suppose when Yuri was a kid. Oh, it's a plated lizard. Was slid down that termite mound behind it into a hole. Looked like a tawny plated lizard. Look for more reptiles too, but especially now, temperatures dropping in the evening, they'll be out warming up in the morning. Well, there's a bird, but that's an easy one.
We've done that one.
Done that one, but there are other birds behind it in the same wattle. Oh, a little flock of them.
I can get that one in the... Let's try.
Go forward. That was the magpie shrike, the big one with the long tail, also black and white, but more black than with the little white. These, there. Oh,
almost.
Did you get it?
There's another one there, and they're flying behind. No, dropping. They're too busy.
They are busy little bodies. Go away, bird eating buffalo thorn berries. Anyways, there are evidently some anecdotes to learn from the time when Philemon was, I suppose, the main, before this was a lodge, when it was just Gowrie. Philemon was a character who pretty much looked after the place, would have made most of the roads. Ow.
It's quite cute.
I was asked the other day, I think it was RC, was asking me about them regurgitating berries, and well, puts its weight on the branch and then can't reach. Same, Louis. Go away, bird. Are those berries all? They are edible and palatable, but I need to get a buffalo thorn close to the road and I can pick a berry and I can show you sort of, it cross section through the fruit. Well, there isn't really much fruit. There's quite a big stone and a little bit of a leathery skin, and you need to eat a lot of them to be able to taste them. They're hard to peel because the fruity part is sort of almost attached to the skin, so you've got to eat them with the skin. They dry very quickly. Okay, let's move along. We've got the lovely chorus of these magpie shrikes as we sit here. The starfish flower is a
forget?
oh,
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. Starfish flower into it.
So Charlie was asking about the starflower, the starfish flower, the Stapelia gigantea. There's that little black and white monster flying across the road in a little flock. It had another bud, flower bud, that should be opening. We can maybe, if we get there today. I'm trying to think, where should we go? Anyway, it's just as good as anywhere else. There was one more flower about to come. I'm sure it'll probably flower again after that one too. So we'll be looking for more. We're also looking for a particular succulent creeper that I have seen. I can't remember where I saw it. Another flower that should be starting to come into, or another plant that should be coming into flower soon is the large type of crassula that grows here. I see their flower stalk starting. It's also a succulent, family of Crassulaceae. Crassulas and Kalanchoe. Interesting thing about creepers, by the way, I don't know if you know that, but here in the southern hemisphere, creepers grow counterclockwise up their host plants, and in the northern hemisphere they grow clockwise. If you have any creepers, especially now with spring coming in the northern hemisphere, take note of which way they climb, way the tendrils twirl. And I'm going to see if I can find anything now this morning. We'll try and find as many creepers as we can. I've just seen one now. Here's one in front of me, but it's dying because of the cold. Not sure what that was, but here is the lucky bean creeper. Doesn't have any fruits or seeds yet. Can hardly see it. Find a better example. Vines and creepers. Oh, and also if Teresa's with us this morning, I've noticed quite a few monkey oranges coming into, well, fruiting. Fruit's getting bigger. And gardenias pretending to be monkey oranges.
Yeah.
Let's go again with that. I didn't quite understand. They're peepers. No, I don't understand that. Okay, William asked a question, but I don't quite understand it, William. Maybe I'm being a little dense. Oh, wolf mongoose dived down a hole. Which direction do they grow in? William was asking a question. No, maybe you can elaborate for me, William. I'm afraid I'm not quite understanding question. Not sure what you're referring to. Please help with that. Lots of early tracks here. Busy with elephant on this road. It looks like yesterday is busy. Now the cold has hit that terminalia. There's one in front of us. What is normally the silver cluster leaf, showing a little bit of browning on some of the leaves. Look at this one. I mean, it's really strange. Like just a lick of cold air that must have come through. Oh, this is a bad plant. First one I've seen here for a while. Need to tell somebody about it. This is a plant that we need to take out. Very many people will be familiar with it. Classic example of a cladode. It's an illegal alien from Central America, South America, maybe the southern parts of North America. It has been grown, it has been farmed agriculturally in this country for the fruits, which are turned into a preserve or just sold in grocers. Commonly known as the jointed cactus or prickly pear. Any other names? Anybody have any other names apart from its scientific name, which is Opuntia? And that is very hard to eradicate. It is probably one of the most aggressive alien invading species we have in this country. It is also in some places illegal to have because of its ability to spread and take over indigenous vegetation. And interestingly, an insect was brought in to help control that plant in places where it has become invasive. An insect known as cochineal, like a scale insect, which is actually a bug. It's a true bug, not just a bug. Cochineal eating up the Opuntia. Unfortunately, baboons and kudu get the fruit and they spread it. Also, those leaves, those cladodes break off and they can just grow again. And if you don't get all the roots out, it will recoppice. And there are different species of Opuntia that we get here. I have some at home that I can't get rid of. And it's very difficult because once you pull it out of the ground, where do you put it so that it doesn't grow again? I tie it upside down take the roots and I tie it into a tree and hang it upside down and hope that it'll dry out. But sometimes 6 months later it's still growing. Roots exposed, hanging upside down. Okay, what's next? We've done some pretty heavy loops, big loops, small loops. We're coming back to Vuyatela access road. Maybe Sandy Patch to Impala Plains might be an idea. And then we'll go over to the eastern side of Germany. We've covered quite a little bit of northwest this morning. No news from William yet on his question. Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those creepers? Is that what it was, William? Oh. Try through Bukani. Try Ingwe. Lovely light. Clouds moved over to the northwest, and with the sun coming up in the east, light against the cloud, the sunlight against the cloud is, look how bright it is. What's that again? Okay, so Ingwe didn't work. Shuvukani was lowercase h. Look, some Impala. Oh, it is a chagra. Can we get that chagra? In this quarry, underneath the, under the canopy.
Oh, yeah.
Let's chase the wax bull out.
Black cap chagra. Okay.
Yes. That's what kind of noise it makes. Black crown chagra. Or used to be known as a three-streaked chagra. Bye-bye chagra. And you also got a glimpse of a blue wax bull that the chagra was getting nasty with. I guess Lubukani didn't work. Where are you off to, Impala? Why did the Impala cross the road? There were some Red Bull Buffalo Weavers there, they've gone. Now, William, I have that song in my head. What do you call a creeper? A vine, perhaps. And of course that giraffe must have gone elsewhere because I can't find his tracks anymore. He's headed onto another property. Elephant tracks in the road. Bless you. And bless you. I can see a warthog. You don't see warthogs too often. They're quite particular about their habitat, but also the grasses are quite long elsewhere. And this little family, look, there's a little piglet there too. Shorter grasses out here. Only seeing that one little piglet. I wonder if this is that crowd from that family from Sandy Patch that is down here. Now that would be the mum.
Which one?
The one on the right, the one that walked out to the right. You can see she's got slightly bigger tusks. And then the other adult is actually a sub-adult. That would maybe be her piglet, a daughter from a previous litter that helps with the new litter. And then the one little one on the right now is one of the new litter. The young males tend to leave after the first year. And the little one, I'm guessing, probably around 3 to 4 months old. Typically they give birth in December, in the summer. We also don't get to see them for length of time like we're seeing them now. Very often we find warthog, they run away from us. They are quite shy animals. But often the vegetation is pretty dense, and I think it's mostly because they're quite nervous in thick vegetation. Here in the open they can see quite well. And perhaps a lot more at ease. Well, there we go. That's a little boy. It's not her daughter from a previous litter. It's a little boy from a previous litter. Just had to wait until it turned around. Although I suppose I should have looked at the face closer with my binoculars. Can't really see on my small screen. But male warthog will have... The male has 4 or 2 pairs of warts on his face. And well, it was easier to see as a little boy from the back. Unusual, I would say, in that he's still with her. That is, usually the little girls stay behind. Look at the mosaic of color on the opposite slope to us. Morning, Savannah. Nice to hear from you again, from Georgia. Savannah from Savannah. Do we see bush hogs? No, we don't. We don't get them here, Savannah. They do not occur here. I guess you're either referring to the giant forest hog or the bush pig. Spider. Spider web though. I won't be able to put that on camera. It's a reclusive family of the golden orb. Just wouldn't translate well. Bush pigs, although they are nocturnal as opposed to warthogs being diurnal, as far as I know, bush pigs maybe occur further up in the northern bit of Kruger, but I don't think there are any bush pigs down in this end of the world. Morning, Anna Marie. Are warthogs common prey for cheetah? Yes, Anna Marie. In some cases, I've known cheetah. In fact, there was a pretty well-known cheetah in the sort of southern part of the Sabi Sand many years ago. Oh, look, there's a wildebeest. There was a cheetah female who obviously had learnt this from her mother. She taught her kids how to chase warthog and their piglets. Where he's off to. Maybe he's off to Arathusa. Anyways, the edge of the Sabi Sand. I know I was talking about places that the whole area here unfenced and very vast area. However, the western boundary of the Kruger National Park is fenced, and it needs to be because there is settlements, or there are settlements, there is civilization, there are people just outside the reserve, and to keep wildlife separate from humanity, to minimize the conflict between human and animals, there is a fence. It's an electric fence, and there was a cheetah that had learnt or had been taught how to chase animals into the fence, mainly warthog. That's good news. What did you use? Copied. The male's up and running again. I'd say he's heading up towards maybe as far as Arathusa airstrip. We have Arathusa just on the right hand side of us now, and although I'm not too fond of driving on this main road, it's quite an active main road, especially a Monday morning, likely to be contractors and deliveries. Let's see what he's going to be doing. Jean in Washington. Jeannie. Asking about the wildebeest. Will he be with his herd again this dry season, or do we have to wait till spring? Probably we'll have to wait till spring, although I'm sure the females might move through an area. What's interesting is, I guess since it is that time of the year when the females just move around on their own, they don't stay within a bull's territory because their calves have grown up enough. The bulls don't really occupy the territories in the way that they normally do. But generally what happens is a bull finds himself an open area and he creates a dust bowl where he has his midden, and he waits for the females to come to him. He doesn't go and find them. And well, he's making his way probably towards the airstrip. There are a couple of open areas just off of this main road inside Arathusa. Could be making his way to one of those. Maybe it's just going to be grazing out here in this tree line for the day, and he'll be back in the open at night. I guess only he knows what he's doing. It's fairly open here. Fairly decent area for a wildebeest to spend the day. But it'll probably be spring before we see the females come back. Morning, Marco. New Jersey. Does the pied crow occur here? It does, but not very common. I think the pied crow, being the opportunist that it is, being a crow, tends to favour cities and villages outside or away from the reserve. Having said that, though, every now and then we do get crows come through. It was only last week, in fact, we had a pied crow that came around camp in between drives, sort of middle of the day, flying around. And I'm quite sure that it's a crow that probably comes around to all the lodges and sees if it could, to have a look and see if it can scrounge anything, and then flies back out to the villages. Once we get the camera up and running again at Gowrie Waterhole or Gowrie Dam, maybe we'll get lucky with pied crow there from time to time. Morning stations, Marc, any update in the west? Okay, copied. Not much happening on Gowrie. Is there a lineup for that sighting on Parallel? Maybe later. I'm guessing shadow. There are some elephants. Just finding out what's going on Arathusa, since we are on the border between Gowrie, which is Djuma on the left, and Arathusa Safari, which is on the right. I don't want to just go onto the property without knowing where things are, and just another road in, which is known as Parallel, Elephant Alley. There's another road called Elephant Alley. If I had to take this road, I would get there. But there are 6 vehicles on standby and 2 vehicles, or I'm not sure, 2 or 3 at the sighting. So it's going to be a while, considerable while. The white rump of Steenbok disappearing. Oh, big male leopard. That would be Tingana, but he's maybe in about half an hour or more. Problem is that if each vehicle is there for about very noisy radio. Go back to West Gowrie. So But the vehicles that are there and 5 vehicles that still have to go through that sighting, it could be easily an hour.
Did you get that question?
No, because I had to turn it down because of the other radio.
Lynn from Michigan wants to know where the bees go.
Oh, sorry. Lynn in Michigan wanting to know where the bee eaters go. Probably to south of France, parts of Europe, the Marc. Not really sure. I'll have to. There were some drongos behaving strangely, and then somebody came out of nowhere in a white pickup. They're gone now. They were like hovering over the grasses there, almost as though there was a snake or something. Oh, they're francolins. That's what it is. There's a small family of francolins in the grass, and they are probably the drongos are probably getting insects that the francolins are missing. Crested francolins. Hello, drongos. Okay, let's. Hello, drongo. Nearly landed on my hat. Morning, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is asking about leopards. Don't leopards only come out at night? No, not at all, Elizabeth. In fact, you will find in some places leopards can actually be more active during the day than they are at night. Sometimes. We've seen leopards any time of the day. I've seen leopards hunting in the heat of summer's days. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But then again, I've seen lion hunting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon as well, on a very, very hot day. You'll find that leopard might move around in daylight hours because, well, particularly in areas where there are maybe higher concentrations of competitive predators like hyena and lion, and it's a time of day when those predators, hyena and lion, are more likely to be asleep and lethargic. But yes, they are quite active at night, and yes, it's a bit divisive. Sometimes they're of at night, sometimes during the day. No real hard and fast rule when it comes to leopards. They are opportunists and unpredictable. Copy that. Thank you, Nikki. Morning, Nikki. I've covered a little bit of the northwest and the west. I haven't really been anywhere east and south, although I'm around Treehouse Dam now. Maybe Buffelshoek Dam, see the cut line side? Also no sign of Karula coming out of the lodge. Maybe you want to have a look around in the lodge. Although we can't drive in there, so it doesn't really matter if she is in there. Scott and Nikki are going to give us a hand this morning trying to find some wildlife. Hello, Bill. Interesting question from Bill. Are animal paths and I suppose what else was it? Animal paths and places checked for snares? Yes, they are. There are regular patrols that are out, anti-poaching patrols, but there are also pretty regular patrols along the fence lines and along the boundaries to make sure that there are no strangers coming in to set snares, I guess. I found a few at home though. I think the security here at Nasabi Sand is pretty good at the moment. It's pretty secure, and fortunately not too much of that kind of poaching going on. Oh, excuse me. came out of nowhere. Must be the sneezewood.
Yeah.
That one sneezewood tree on Gallagher shortcut. Morning, Jenny. From Virginia. I'm Mark from Mars. Jenny from Virginia is asking if we have orchids here. And do they grow from the ground or are they epiphytes? I'm smelling something. Blocked as my sinuses are.
There's a dead hyena up in front of us. I saw it yesterday.
Dead hyena?
Yeah, better avoid.
Really?
Really, really.
Nobody told me about it.
It's rather depressing subject.
I guess. Life and death in the African bushveld.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a very small one too.
What's that? Is this right?
No. A lot of carcass beetles on it. Very smelly. That's unusual.
What's your diagnosis?
I can't.
No idea.
No idea. Just even looking at could be anything. Snake bite. But it's been there too long now. A lot of carcass beetles. Sorry, Jenny, I got sidetracked because there was suddenly a strong smell of an animal and I'm thinking we need to visit the hyena then to see if that older cub is there, that one that's about 5-6 months old. Is that the... I'm thinking we need to visit the hyena then to see if that older cub is there, that one that's about 5-6 months old. Is that little one looks about that size? Could have been killed by another cat?
Would they eat it though?
Not necessarily. We have two types of orchids here, Jenny, that we've seen, that we've managed to photograph over time with their flowers. There are very few of them actually. Tree orchids, they are epiphytes. They belong to the genus Ancelia gigantea. And there are two subspecies of Ancelia gigantea that we get here. Now, as far as ground-dwelling orchids, morning boys, bachelor boys, they must be getting ready to compete for females soon. for ground-dwelling orchids, I have to say I've never seen a ground-dwelling orchid here. But having said that, I found a ground orchid at home this last summer, and it's possible that they would occur here too. Down in the Cape, when I lived down in the Cape for a little while, it was wonderful to discover all the different ground orchids, Satyriums, a whole host of ground-dwelling orchids that occur in the Cape. Ground orchid in that area before, and then it just so happened that the rainfall and lack of sunshine, I suppose, type of rain that we had was just perfect conditions for it to flower. You know, often we'll have plants that throw up their leaves in the summer, but if you don't get the right succession of cloud cover or rainfall and sunshine, some plants need, some of the lilies for example, some of the really delicate lace lilies, they need the right amount of rainfall coupled with the right amount of sunshine, and then follow up rainfall to throw a flower. And sometimes a flower only lasts a day, and you can go years without getting them flowering with only the leaves coming up. And I think it's the same to a large extent with the orchids and many other flowers for that matter. But if you don't have the right sequence of climate, of weather, you won't even know that they're there, because the leaves are so hard to recognize amongst the grasses and all the other small plants. Being an amateur botanist as such as I am, I think if I was more academically trained, or if I was, I don't know, I think I'd have a better idea. Fly, or not. I'd have a better idea how to classify things. Gosh, I've had one fly that has been dogging me all morning. Squeaks of dwarf mongoose, but I can't see them. Oh, there's another. That dead tree, isn't it a little succulent? It looks like a crassula. Chris, morning Chris. How long does Impala rut last for? About a month. The little succulent growing inside the dead log. It looks like it could be a crassula. And I can hear baby dwarf mongoose. You hear those high-pitched squeaks? Mm-hmm. Juvenile baby dwarf mongoose that are squeaking or being carried by adults. Okay. VM remind me I should try to find a small herd of impala that has, where a male has already started. Kind of trying to get in there early. We saw a small group of impala yesterday with the dominant male, and I guess he's jumping the gun a bit, trying to secure a herd before the rut starts. But he might still be ousted before the females come into estrus. little bit early March. That would bring them birthing in September, October, so not likely. Still looking for buffalo thorn fruit to show you. Maybe the buffalo thorn on the dam wall here at Treehouse Dam, and then after that we'll go past an orchid for Virginia, and then we'll go past the starfish flower and see if that bud has opened up, and hopefully there'll be an animal or two along the way, or a bird, or an insect, or a lizard. Enough now. Morning, Helen. In Oregon. Where in Oregon? Fine. Okay. How do you tell a male leopard from a female leopard's tracks? Mostly size, Helen. There are no fruits on this buffalo thorn. And there's no one here at Treehouse Dam. But there is a woodlands kingfisher. They're definitely not calling anymore. I haven't heard one for days now. So we can tick off, what is it today? The 30th of March as still present. take this fly's pilot license away with the worry branch. Morning, Dara in Iowa. Dara is asking, how common is it for, well, Dara is referring to the warthog out on Arathusa airstrip. There's that older warthog and then her daughter and their 7 piglets. How common is it? How for all 7 to survive to adulthood? Very uncommon, considering a number of factors. First of all, the fact that they live out there on the airstrip, out in the open. Well, they spend a lot of time out in the open on that airstrip. So they're vulnerable to cheetah, lion, leopard, eagles, snakes, all sorts of things. And there are pythons around that are possible predators of little warthogs. Let's see, starflower. I'm not even seeing the blossom. I saw a blossom there yesterday. The Stapelia doesn't have a flower at the moment. Go forward a little bit. There's a bud at the back. I'm sure there's other Stapelia around. That's the only one that I've noticed. I think those 2 females, that older female and the younger female, I think they've done exceptionally well to keep all of those little warthogs alive, keep them all safe. We had a warthog with 5 piglets on Sandy Patch. When I first got here at the beginning of the season, there were 5 new little ones. And I think the warthog we saw this morning, I think that's the family with only 1 left. I've seen a baboon kill, I think it was 5 or was it 3? I think 3 piglets in the space of minutes. Kill and eat piglets up in East Africa. Baboon of all things. Big male baboon. I think that flower bud was eaten off of that Stapelia. Morning, Arcade. Arcade. I don't know if we're pronouncing it correctly. Arcade. In Arkansas. Will the weavers return to their nests? Or will they make new ones? Look here. Several vines, creepers climbing up this quarry. You can see how it goes. And that baby jackalberry, there's another one there. This is jasmine creeper actually. Counterclockwise, climbing up. In fact, that piece there, it's been there so long, it's actually strangling it almost. Let me go back a little bit. See how the quarry has grown with the vine snaking in it, deep into its trunk. Now the weaver nests become homes to a lot of other things for the rest of the season and going into the dry season. And the grasses, of course, what happens also is that the grass of the nest becomes very, very dry and brittle, and they're no good to be nesting in the next season, so they will be broken down, or they might even fall down by then, weathering. Go ahead, Scott. Okay, copy, thanks. But I still want to find a Cissus rotundifolius. spelled C-I-S-S-U-S. In fact, there are two types of cissus. Cissus quadrangulata and Cissus rotundifolia. Interesting creepers. Ought to be some tree orchids down here in the dip, because we're close to a big tree orchid, one of the biggest tree orchids that I've seen here on Juma. There have been some tree orchids in this dip. Many years ago, there was a tree pushed over down here that had a little tree orchid in, and I tried to save it, but I couldn't. I think it was this knobthorn that was pushed across the road. Lynn from Michigan, didn't we see an orchid up in a tree on a limb? You mean that one, Lynn? That's and it's got some seed on it from the flowers that it had. It's a little bit far off. It's also looking into the sunlight, but you'll be able to see the silhouette of it nicely. There you go. You can see some of the pods from the flowers on the left of that. That's one of the big orchids that we have here at Juma. There are a couple of smaller orchids. There are two smaller orchids on Rebecca's Road. There are still a couple more orchids in trees dotted along this drainage line off of this road known as Elephant Skull, that I'm guessing are offspring of that big orchid, because I think that orchid up there in that dead leadwood is very old. Hasn't really changed much in the 6 years that I've known it. Somewhere in here, I'm sure there are other orchids. If I remember correctly, walking this drainage line, you can see some in the drainage line. That looks like a big Nilotica. Big acacia with those pods on it. No, not Nilotica. Must be Robusta. Nilotica grows more round. Have I been able to study Brian's mom's skull? That's also from Arkansas. Morning, Arkit again. See, there's another one of those Harvey eyes, the Albizias, Jason. Smaller one. Much smaller one. Mostly only in drainage lines. The skull is still a little bit smelly. The skull isn't quite ready to play with yet. Wrong word, play with, but study. I'll have a look at it again today and see if I can't speed up the process somehow. soon. I think soon we need to do something with that skull. Very interesting. Been looking at every termite mound in case there's a plated lizard or a mongoose. I think things are slow to get going this morning because it was chilly. There's another fig starting to develop in this tree. This knob's thorn. You can see its roots are starting to climb down the trunk. In fact, I can actually see root that's probably already touching the ground. Aerial roots. And once they touch the ground and they start absorbing nutrients from the ground, it grows a lot quicker than having just aerial roots. And eventually the roots wrap themselves around the trunk of the tree, and as the roots grow and thicken, so does the host tree try to grow and thicken. But of course the roots that are now encircling the trunk of the tree cannot expand, so the tree actually strangles itself. It grows and it becomes strangled by the roots of the fig. Unfortunately, I don't think any of us will be around to see that, because it'll take another 50 years, 60 years more. Warm. Getting warm fast. Squirrel. Did you drop your nuts? Oh, he's gone up the tree. So it'll come back to it though. He's running with a marula nut. Tried to jump into a little twig and dropped his marula nut. Ever since seeing the movie The Ice Age, that lovely animated movie, can't help but think of when I see our squirrels with the marula nuts, can't help but think of the movie and the squirrel in that movie. Twin Dams is also receding fast. Oh, that's interesting. Back-to-back stalks. Oh, the blacksmith lapwings obviously have a nest there. Or nearby. They're not happy about the stalks. Woolly neck stalks. And of course the buffalo. Sorry, I forgot to mention. Gee, look at the buffalo at the water. What a surprise. Who's that flew over? Oh, go away bird. Lucky one on Twitter, sending a tweet. Where are the buffalo cows and calves? Well, I heard of a herd that made an appearance on Buffelshoek this morning. It might have been they were just talking about the tracks. The light coming behind that stalk now, you can see why it's called a woolly neck. No, can't see it now because it's moving. The big, what we call breeding herds of buffalo, move over quite considerable distances, and we just haven't had any of them coming through Djuma for some time now. So if you've been watching for a couple of months now, you might recall a fairly large herd of buffalo that was up on Rebecca's Road near the hyena den. I reckon that was probably around February or end January, even early February, maybe even earlier than that. Could have even been December. But it's been some time now. The big herds need a lot of grazing, so they don't really stay in the same place. They move all the time. They'll rest up for the night and chew the cud perhaps, but generally every day they're on the move to a different place. Sometimes you might find they'll stay in an area and return to the same waterhole again, but generally they move in very large circles. So it'll be any day now that we might see a herd coming through. It'd be nice to have some buffalo come through, flatten some of the dry grasses, leave lots of little packets of fertilizer on the ground. truly a peaceful morning. Almost hides the fact that such drama can play out in this world of life and death the way we've seen it. Here's another milkberry. Can't see any of that coral synesia growing here. It used to grow along this bank. Used to be a lot of coral synesia, beautiful succulent with a bright coral red flower. Well, the flower only really comes out in the dry season around June, July. Although I have had them at home, I have had them flowering early. Go ahead. Stop it. They used to know from Boripan that if you go down that drainage line from Boripan towards north, they used to wait and hawk eagles. I think Scott saw them yesterday morning. My favourite eagles. I have a pair of eagles at home and I see them almost daily. None of the birds like them because they are primarily bird hunters. Look, here's a little flower for my ladies. Little blue wandering Jew. Commelina. We've got a decent view of the Commelina there. Very small flowers. Try and move some grass out of the way. There. Sorry, I'm shaking it a lot, but trying to get a nice clear view of it. That wasn't me. Commelina.
You gotta watch out, yeah.
Pardon?
You gotta watch out, yeah.
Gotta watch out.
Yeah.
Oh, that watch out. Look, there's an ant on the dashboard. That's not an ant.
What is it?
It's a spider that pretends to be an ant. It's a salticid spider that's an ant mimic. Watch out here. Wow, big buffalo being here. There's some more Bolaria. That one is looking straight at the camera. That's a weird angle for you, but Barleria, Barleria, Barleria. Heliotropiums are losing ground. Their flowers are not at all impressive this season. They haven't had a rain. There's still a little moisture down here in the drainage line in the riverbed. This is the Mulwati River from Gowrie Dam, which is essentially the same riverbed. The Gowrie Dam is where it was dammed up to form the dam. It's the same drainage line, so the water isn't too deep under the surface of the sand. And the little flower while we're at it, because it's early morning. Some of these are not going to be open by this evening. Lovely little heart-shaped leaf of type of morning glory, probably Astropomoia rather than Ipomoia. See if I can find it. So this little one is probably similar to Ipomoia obscura. Anyway, it's tiny little, beautiful little yellow, almost trumpet-like, very typical of the Ipomoias, the morning glories, and of course those lovely heart-shaped leaves. And their morning flowers. With a little more rain, and it's supposed to have a bit more rain tomorrow. With a bit more rain, we might get a few more flowers coming out. There are some flowers that are conspicuous by their absence. That, by the way, is a senna, the one on the ground. That you pointed one out yesterday, actually. But I think that is an alien senna, if I'm not mistaken. Not like the big monkey pods that we have, the senna singuiana. This doesn't have the center. I'll have to look at another book. But that is one of them. Hello buffalo, I thought I heard horns knocking when we were looking at that center. Sorry boys. They're a little intimidated. They're right on the edge of the bank and I'm kind of blocking their path, so I don't know if we're going to make it. I was hoping to maybe get back to Gowrie Dam in case there was something there. It seems like I'm running out of time for this morning's drive. It's been quite pleasant, although we haven't seen very much. It's been very pleasant. It's been a nice amble, what we call a bumble, a slow bumble. This is the dreaded lug nut disappearing place. By the way, where we are now, somewhere here there's a lug nut from a Land Rover, a wheel nut. What do you see? A leopard tortoise. A leopard tortoise. Big leopard tortoise, actually. I wonder if that's also because there's rain coming. Maybe he's going to walk forward for us. Hello, tortoisey. That's been about the pace of our drive this morning. Sums it up in a nutshell. No, I mean in a tortoise shell. Let me go in front of this little stunted leadwood. Oh, he's turned his back on us. He's been in some mud. But a tortoise walking around could mean rain coming. I'm sure there are a number of you that are watching that have stayed up late, and I want to thank you for your support for this drive. It's been wonderful having you on board, and I hope to see you all again later after you've had a bit of a sleep. For those of you who are ahead of us in time, we'll see you in your morning. For those of you who are on our time, have a good day for your Monday, and we will see you this afternoon, 4 o'clock our time, Central African time. Jason has been on camera, Wiem has been in final control, and my name is Mark. From all of us here at WildEarth, take care, sweet dreams, love you lots. Bye bye, tortoise. Bye bye. Sure. That was a little hard, wasn't it?
No way. I didn't do very well today.
No, you were napping.
Eh?
Not napping, but you were.
I wasn't focused at all.
You were daydreaming. It's okay. I wasn't too focused. I mean, I've been enjoying just looking at things.
More of an us drive than
Mm.